Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here. Put it on live chat so we can see everybody. Yeah, we don't want to leave anybody out here. Mrs. Spec is still logging in on her tablet so she can read your comments to me. What is that? Nothing. Oh, it was just a message. They can't see it. No. And no. All messages. If Stray Bullet shows up, we'll be able to see his comments. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here on our Saturday afternoon live. Hey guys, I can see here that Mark Sobe's left a message. Yeah, that was last night. I don't have the time for some reason. You don't have timestamps? No. That's weird. Matt the Ward left a message as well. Yeah, that's 6th Street Garage. I was giving him advice on how to change his handle. Okay. Mark Sobe. Big Block 402. Big Block 402. Thanks for coming. Barracuda. Hey, Barracuda. Johnny C. Johnny, thanks for coming. Buddy Carafano. Hey, buddy. Hope you're feeling well. Buff del Campos here. Hey, Buff. Welcome. That's it so far. 64. Yeah. Okay, you can start like from right here where I can't see it on the screen. You can't see it? Got the big block of text there. No, that's just where it starts. Mm-hmm. I think all of the Volkswagen vans are going to be first for the way they were numbered, so hope you don't get tired of looking at Volkswagen vans. We had rain yesterday, and now one of the dog runs is flooded. Well, Mark, on the bright side, it's -1 degree, so it'll freeze pretty soon, so it won't be actually flooded. It is close, no falling off the roof. Yeah. Well, with 10 dogs, you gotta keep them right. So I just added the vans that I had saved for a client, and after we went through everything and all that, he just says, "What is the noise?" Oh, never mind. I have it on my computer too. I just added the vans that I had saved for a client. After we went through everything and all. Hearing my own voice in the other room is creepy. But the car front is nice interior. On that first one, yeah, the white one. There's a here's the story with this. I just explained it to another client. I was working with my client on that van, which was in Zacatecas, and Zacatecas is not, well, it's a dangerous area. Everybody knows that. So I got a hold. The wife gave me the phone number for the husband, so I talked to the husband, and I asked him, is it safe to go there? It was just a little bit inside the Jalisco border, so we wouldn't be in there for very long, and not at night, obviously. So he says, well, I cannot tell you that it's not dangerous here. Okay, so I had that to deal with. So New Year's came, and I left. I figured since the phone number he was calling me from was his business number, an agricultural company, that's why they were not getting back to me because they were on vacation or whatever. So this morning, I tried to ask again, can you send me it? Because they ghosted me when I asked for the copy of the ownership documents. So I looked at this morning, and it's like the phone number he was calling from disappeared. It doesn't register as the name anymore on WhatsApp, and it's like they're just not there anymore. So I don't know if something happened to them or whatever, or maybe they never had the van in the first place because they stopped communicating with me when I asked them for a copy of the invoice. So that is possible. Dean Stevenson is here. Hello, Dean. I was like 5.5 because I'm here.
I don't know what that means.
We'll get somebody else to translate that.
Family B is here.
Hi, Family B. Welcome. Nice. Thank you for joining us.
It says nice green brown charger.
Yep, we're heading off the middle of next week to go buy that for a client. It is a very, very nice truck.
Chris is here.
Hello, Chris. Hopefully everything is good where you are.
Dean says DWOMF. I don't know what that means.
He does though.
Okay. Barracuda says Chris. Chris Dean Stevens on the upside down Dean machine. Daniel Morris says here.
Hey, Daniel. Thank you for joining us. Hope you like the vehicles we show.
And they say, hi Mexican Spec, it's Dan from Bob's channel. Hope you're well. Hope all of Mexican Spec's crew is well.
Thank you very much. And Buff is here in the chat with us. So
I think that's it. They're saying hi to each other.
yeah, I'm looking on. I showed my client a bunch of other vans, and he didn't like any of those. So nobody. What I figured was what we would do is take a bus to Guadalajara, then take another bus to where the truck was, to where the van was, but do it like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning when all the bad people have been up all night killing each other. They're asleep. So then we stay there in a hotel at night, and then leave at like 9 o'clock in the morning. It's like, I don't know, take about 45 minutes to get out of that state, and I think we would have been fine. I was willing to do it. I mean, how bad could it be considering where I live? It's basically the same thing. But it's really weird how these people just ghosted me, and then today the number just disappears, like they're not there anymore. So that could mean a couple different things.
Maybe they just lost the phone number and they had to replace it. But
It was a company number, so because when I checked it before, it said agricultural whatever, and now when I look at it, it's just blank. There's nothing.
Dean says that the word that letters mean driveway of misfits.
Oh,
KJ
it's easier to say Chris.
KJ Kiel is here.
Hey, KJ, Kylie. How are you?
I was
Every week you do that.
I just
The I is before the E in his name, Kylie.
Yeah, but it's Spanish. Anyway, Dan E Boyd is here.
Hey, Danny, what's up?
Hola, you all. I'm at my fucking job.
Yeah.
What's this?
Well, if you were independently wealthy, you wouldn't have to work. Ain't that the way?
I guess. My filter is gonna be off more than usual because I'm especially tired today.
Okay.
Daniel Morris says beautiful woodwork in your Volkswagen.
Yeah, somebody did some woodwork in it, which, thank goodness it has a liquid cooled engine in it. It could haul all that weight. An air cooled engine, that thing wouldn't move 20 kilometers per hour. Wouldn't happen.
Wait. Dean says your girly occupation retributed. I don't know them. Dan says I am learning about Volkswagens.
Better late than never, Dan.
Tavo's here.
Hey, Tavo, welcome. All 11 and a half of us. Yeah. Yet, what I didn't point out is you will notice on all of these Volkswagen vans that it has a radiator in the front of it. They are all liquid cooled with a 1.8 liter inline four Golf engine, which is what I meant by it has plenty of power to haul all that wood compared to the liquid cooled, the air cooled 1.6 liter engine, which everybody knows doesn't get out of its own way.
Dan says Kukla, Fran, and Ollie.
Yeah, very, very old reference.
Okay. Dean says, hope you're okay being a workaholic, Danny Boyster. Johnny C says, it must be a great help that Mrs. Beck is native to Mexico and not the layout.
She doesn't know that area, Johnny, so we would be experiencing it together.
Yeah. Stray Bullet is here.
Hey, Stray Bullet, welcome. We put it on live chat just so we could see you.
Hopefully it stays that way. He says, hi, Spec family, and hi, everyone. Buddy Carafano says, red and white, best paint scheme for Volkswagen bus.
Are you sure, buddy? Because if we paint it with flowers and all kinds of stuff, people like that too.
Dan Evoy says, radiator rhymes with gladiator.
Not quite.
Okay.
Not for me. We're from California. It was radiator, not radiator.
Okay. Mark says, back, had to deal with the snow and fell off the roof. You fell off the roof. Are you
No,
okay?
the snow that fell off the roof.
Ah, sorry. Dean says radiation therapy. I had some when I went up outside on the sun. Chris says that Evoid, not around here, it doesn't. Tribble says, can you put an air cooled engine in it?
Why would you want to? There's plenty of other ones that have air cooled engines. If you put an air cooled engine in this, you've got that big hole in the front where a radiator should be, and it looks pretty bad. So I'd rather have the liquid cooled engine that could get out of its own way, and you can put air conditioning front and rear in the van if you wanted to, and make it a real daily driver.
Mark says, lol, for a sec, I thought the driver's seat was a jump seat on that Volkswagen bus. What's a jump seat?
A middle seat or a seat that folds forward, I think.
Davo says, we used to use the early Golf inline 4 diesel in small road sweepers. Dean says, just unhook the radiator striplet. Mark says, flowers on a Volkswagen bus equals hippie slow.
Exactly. Exactly.
Dean says, ooh, radical. Pit Snipe Husker is here.
Hey, Pit Snipe. Thanks for joining us.
They say, good to see everybody. I've been thinking of you and yours, Spec. Glad to be here today.
Thank you very much, Pit. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Davos says, radiator radiates the heat.
Yes, it does not radiate the heat. It radiates.
And Stray Bullet says, that might working.
But why would you want to? Again, why would you want to make it slower and weaker than it should be?
I don't know.
If you have never experienced one, which I have not, to be perfectly honest, I was not looking forward to driving that Volkswagen van like almost 1,000 kilometers back to my house, where you're sitting at the windshield in front of the wheels on the highway. I was not looking forward to that, but it would have been a fun experience. Right, Chris?
Dean says his Mexican Spec is addicted to Sola administered vitamin D. Or Sol administered?
Could be.
Sol administered? Sol is sun and it's SOL.
Mm-hmm.
Mark says a jump seat is what you use for kids that have outgrown a car seat. Ah, just like a buster, like a buster seat.
Booster seat. Yeah.
Yeah. Dan says hippies don't bother hiding the soap.
Well, I'm sure they would take a shower if there was a shower available to them. They just like to live like they live.
Triple says no pictures of the engine.
There's a lot of vans on here. There's plenty of pictures of the engines here. It looks like an inline 4-cylinder in the back of a van.
Mark says Mexican Spec, what engines are in those liquid cooled Volkswagen buses?
It's the 1.8 liter inline 4-cylinder that they used in the Golf and the Jetta, even in the US. So parts would be everywhere for these. The only downside I could see in one of these is that you have the radiator in the front and the engine in the back. So there's piping that goes from the front to the back, and piping that long can spring a leak or rust, or I don't know what it's made of or whatever. And you got hoses in the front, hoses in the back. So that's the only weak thing I could see.
Dean says to Tavo, I don't need a heat and thermodynamics lesson from a person who owns all the heat in the world. Fair. Tavo says, did you have the 2.0 injected flat 4 over there?
No, that was not a thing here. They only use one engine, the 1.6, in all of the Volkswagen products. They never spread out to other engines.
Pizza says, I'm in and out for a little while, getting my laundry and other chores done, but I'm listening.
Oh, okay.
Mm, Chris says, somebody's texting you. So Chris says, I've actually never driven a Volkswagen bus, only a Beetle.
Who said that?
Chris.
Chris. Never driven a bus in your whole life?
Dan says, engine equals money shot.
I'm sure one of them will have them.
Mm, Chris says to Tavo, do you mean the 2.0 liter Type 4 air cooled or the later Wasser Boxer? And that's how you say that. Mark says Mexican Spec. Okay, not even a liquid cooled version of the pancake engine. Interesting.
No. They just went with the engine because they were building other, they're building the Golf and everything here. So they just took the engine out of that and fit it to one of these. They're not going to reinvent the wheel. They're going to use whatever was in the factory to make this work.
Tavo says the Chris air cooled. Tripoli says, doesn't it take up a lot of interior space?
The what?
I don't know the engine.
I don't think so. It's the same engine compartment that the air cooled had, and the water pipes are underneath the van. So it doesn't take any interior space.
Dan says, I've never driven a Beetle, but I've driven a Volkswagen Westphalia van.
That's a whole lot of extra weight to haul that.
Mm-hmm.
And most of those were air cooled too.
Chris says, I actually looked up the radiator piping. It was multiple pieces of steel pipe with rubber hoses on each end.
Steel pipe, so it can rust, which isn't really a problem here, but if you get it to a cold climate over there, that is a possibility.
Mark says, lol, look out when those dash mounted Timu fans come on. You might even feel it low. Daniel Morris says, I grew up in San Anselmo, California, Marin County, 10 miles from San Francisco North. We had
I'm sure he'll finish his thought at some point.
an old Volkswagen shop in San Anselmo. Shop was 80 years old.
If you
Mm,
work on the same thing for all that time, you know it inside and out.
Chris says, Otavo, we had those here in the US, 72 to 79. Transporters here had them. Tribble says, I will plummet in all copper. Plummet all in copper driveway.
Copper's going up, so you may not want to do that.
Barry says, probably better to drive than a Comer van. Comer van? Tabo says to Chris, same down here. That's why I asked whether it was something else unique here. Chris says, copper is easily damaged and all of that pipe is under the vehicle. And Daniel says Volkswagen. Oh, that's what I answered. Okay. Dean says a lot of things are Barracuda. Mark says Mexican Spec. And the engine is probably still set up as a transfer mounted engine.
In the van, no, it's straight. It is straight, just like the flat engine was. Actually, these vans in Mexico use the Type One engine. They never use the flat. They never use the Type Two engines in these. Like I said, that was the same engine across the board in every Volkswagen here.
Rebel says, how are they going to fit a Gulf engine under there? Golf engine.
Nothing is shown. Not one of these has shown a picture of the engine.
Yeah, they showed an engine. I saw it. I saw it.
Oh well, you got to keep an eye out for it because it fits in there.
Chris says the later Vanagons T3 transporters for you down under used plastic pipes for the radiator.
Oh no, plastic. No way.
Dan says, sorry, it was definitely air cooled. Might have not been in Westphalia, but it was a camper. Limo's here.
Hey Slimo, thanks for joining us.
And they say, where did all the Mazda Bongo bands go?
That's not something we know. He's from down under, so I'm sure he's asking Tavo. And are
That
we
was.
gonna time out Dean for this?
Hold on. I think.
Because
I think I'm behind.
Dean, don't do that. I need the. I have a very limited space where I'm watching the comments.
It is deleting stuff.
Yeah, that doesn't help. It still stays on there.
Slime. No. Tabo says to Barracuda, I had to drive an Omer van for a while. Work vehicle that was fitted with a Holden 2.2. Brakes were messed up, and I crashed it during an emergency stop. That was a Comer, so a Comer van. Dean says the Gulf engine is quite shallow. The air-cooled 4 has a tall intake and fan. The water-cooled 1.8 or 1.6 isn't any taller. Dan says, Gil, I resemble that a little. And KJ says, everybody, don't forget to hit the like button. Thanks, KJ. Trevor says, I have a lot of copper hoarded away, Mexican. I've been preparing.
Oh, that's good. You don't want to go out and buy it now.
Dean says, Gilfdorf. I don't know what that means. And Dan says 18 and Gilf, they call it.
I think that's on a different subject.
It says, no joke, Vanagons did use plastic radiator pipes. Aftermarket stuff is either stainless or reinforced rubber.
Not a good idea, Volkswagen.
Daniel says, Volkswagen helped revolutionize other cars in the world. Dean says, hi, Slimo, Tractors Unite. Is the microphone on? No, it's not. I'm glad I have a microphone to not turn on.
That would help.
Stray says, I guess that's true, Dean. But gee whiz, a Golf engine? Dean says, no, I'll be good. Chris says, and yes, Max, it's true that I've never driven a Volkswagen bus. A bay window bus is on my bucket list of vehicles I want.
Way back in the 80s, I had to take one to the smog station in California, which is with Van Nuys, and I lived on the other side of the valley. So I got on the Simi Valley Freeway with it, and I had it pegged to the floor, and I was doing 50 miles an hour. Didn't even have a headwind or anything. As far as I could go. That's as fast as I could go with it. That was it. So I've never really been a fan, especially with how tall they are, and when the wind hits you, it puts you in another lane. Just never been my thing, but it would have been an experience to drive one back with the liquid cooled engine that had plenty of power to get up hills and everything else.
Stray Bullet says, I pushed the wrong button. Dean says, 17 and life to go. Lester Les Sabers here.
Hey, Lester. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Lester. This hi, everyone. Barracuda says, I delivered a Comer van once, a trip of a couple 100 miles. I made the mistake of taking a gravel road shortcut. It was unbelievably difficult to not put it in the ditch.
Yeah. There's quite a few of these panel vans here that were used for work and everything, and people are customizing the interior of it. Just think 70s van craze, and you could completely deck out the whole interior of it however you wanted to, and still have the power to pull all that weight. So they are cheaper than the passenger vans by quite a lot. Another issue with that Volkswagen van I was talking about at the beginning was the price that they were asking was half or a third of what everybody else wanted for a van in that condition. Because the first thing I asked them is, has the timing belt been changed? And they told me, yes, the timing belt, it was just service, timing belt changed, everything changed. And hopefully they don't get it mixed up with the alternator belt. But yes, they said it was changed, everything was done, the van's ready to go, new tires, all that. And it was a very good price. So, it may not even have existed. I don't know. But I got to take it off my website because I had another client ask me about it. Although I did offer him, I'm going to show him this list of vans and see if he, would like another one. And then for the first client, I did find him another one, a 2000 model that has a high roof like this brown one here, and inside was a sofa bed in the back. It was a bed and then folded down into a sofa, but it had a burner that worked off propane in it. It had a sink to wash your hands. It had a little tank of water to wash your hands, and it had a refrigerator in there. And it was a really good price. It was even cheaper than the other one. And again, this guy said he changed the timing belt every 2 years. He did service. The van was ready to go. And then my client says, nope, don't want to do the deal, but he won't tell me why. He won't answer any more questions. So I don't know what happened with him.
Davo says, did Mexico get factory built Volkswagen camper vans?
No, no, there was no camper vans here. It was a DIY type of thing. Out of the factory, you got the passenger van, which they called the Caravel, and you got the panel van, which was made for work. So that's the only choices you got.
Barracuda says, a Roots group van, weren't they, Davo? Dean Stevenson says, yum, I could eat that chocolate paint.
It does look good. It does look like good chocolate.
Lester says, didn't the original vans have gear reduction hubs that made them slow?
Yes, the original air-cooled vans were very, very slow, dangerously slow, especially when a Honda Civic can do 135 miles an hour now and accelerate. The acceleration these new cars have. The air-cooled vans are dangerously slow. Doesn't matter what engine you put back there. You can put a 2000 in there, and it'll still be slow.
Ray Bullet says, any Mexican pop tops?
No, there's all kinds of vans here because they've been brought in or they've been modified or whatever. So you can find anything here. I just recently saved a Westphalia that I'm going to be publishing, but people have really big numbers on them here. So I don't know if I even want to get into dealing with something like that. I don't really trust the Volkswagen engines. People say they're dependable, but I've had so much trouble with them. They go bad real easy.
That was says to Barracuda. Correct. Initially had the Hillman 1725 engine from the Minx and then got a 2500.
That's a pretty big upgrade for a 1725 to a 2500.
Mm, Chris says to Lester the Saber, I think the gear reduction units were 1967 and earlier transporters. Dean says, yes, Roots got taken over by Chrysler, then it was sold as the Cumbervan, and in UK for 2 years, the Dodge Space Wagon.
I smell a urine here somewhere.
I'm telling you. Um, Lester says strength driveway, but Dan says that with your roots on if you're going to die. Okay. Then Dean says the 2.5 Commer had the Humber Hawk four-cylinder engine, if I recall correctly. Barracuda says my brother had a Commer Cop.
Stray Bullet, those are the ones that I've had all kinds of problems with. Because especially in the vans, they're overworked. You have your foot on the floor wherever you go, even from signal light to signal light. So I don't know. The very first job I ever had was working at a self-serve car lot, and I got into a '63 Beetle. He says, "Hey, move it from here to there." So I started it up, and the gear shift lever broke off in my hand. It's not like I jammed it or anything. It's just click. That's it. I had the gear shift lever in my hand and no way to move the car. So those are the kind of experiences I've had with Volkswagens.
Mark says purple people eater. I think that's like
It could. You with that mouth on the front. I'm sure you could eat some people.
uh, Chris says Stray Bullet. They're certainly simple engines, but they have their weak points as well. Tavo says Cobb was a Minx-based van. Barracuda. More parkade on place here.
Hey, Kay, thanks for joining us.
Dean Stevenson says hi. Daniel Morris says Volkswagen Westphalia camper vans were all over the Bay Area, California.
Yeah, when they were cheap. I bought one at a Copart auction in Las Vegas one time. I was doing some work for Copart, so I happened to be there when the auction happened. It was the green with the green plaid interior, and it was owned by an elderly couple before. They had a minor fire where the battery area was, and their insurance company salvaged it. So I bought it, took it to a Volkswagen guy. He says there's no damage. He just cleaned up the area, put a new battery in it, and the thing was like brand new. I
Hmm.
got it really, really cheap. I made a lot of money on that thing.
Barracuda says, yes, I believe so, also known as the Hillman Husky. Tripoli says, I know, but you can pull the engine out in 15 minutes, even stopping to eat a sandwich.
Well, it takes a little longer than that, but yeah, I've watched the mechanic do it twice. He did it in the Volkswagen Beetle that I bought for a client, and I watched him do it in the Omega too. A couple of bolts and it comes right down.
Are you cold?
No.
Mm. Then says, pink and purple people eaters. They got hungry, unless the people are pink or purple.
These days, Dean, they'll go by the color of the hair.
Chris says, triple it. This is true. I need to pull mine sometime this summer to do a cosmetic refresh on it. 58 years old. I don't think it's ever been out of the car.
Wow.
Johnny says, yes, they were. I'm from the Bay.
Is it a low mile car, Chris? And how long have you had it? Because the previous owner probably told you it's never been out of the car.
Um, Dan says, Comer is slang for commercial vehicle, I presume. That's what I was thinking. Mark says, early 50s Beetle.
Oh yeah, the one on the screen.
Yeah,
Sorry, I thought he was talking about Chris's Beetle.
no. Chris
Yeah,
says,
now we're in to the years. So that it started with the oldest one that I found, which was I don't know a 58 or something. I don't know something like that.
Chris says, Beetle engines hang off of the transmission. The tranny is bolted to the pan.
Yes, it is.
Mark Sobe says early. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I meant.
Yeah.
And Dan says, nice looking bug. Jay is here.
Jay, hey Jay,
Hi, Jay.
thanks for joining us.
Triple says, wow, that's nice. The driveway. Dean Stevenson says, multiple hair colors.
Yeah, so if it's a little purple in there, they qualify.
Tabo says, Volkswagen flat fours can go fast. Look at Formula V racing.
Yes, but they're not doing it in Volkswagen vans. They're doing it in Beetles or dune buggies or whatever. It's the weight of the van that slows them down.
Chris says, odometer shows 3,000 miles. I think it's 1,000.
103.
Thank you. Jay says, hello, Mark Sobe. Bob Beeser is the Canadian Indian.
I sent him that message, Jay, so he read it.
Barracuda says, could be Dean, not sure. Could be Dan, not sure. Sorry. And Dean says, communist Dan E. Boyster. Okay. And Chris says, hi to Jay. Carol says, I'm not many a comer that came to a full stop. And Dan says, it's Jimmy Carl Black.
He's Jimmy Carl Black.
Oh, I'm Jimmy Carl Black. Jay says, hello, Specs. I'm in the middle of a front brake job and caliper overhaul.
Why are you all overhauling calipers when they're so cheap, Jay?
I don't know how much they cost, but yay. Stop it. Barracuda says, that will be enough of that, Dean.
Uh-oh.
Jay says, Chris Rock. Patrick, Casey,
It's Patrick Sullivan.
Patrick
Hey,
Sullivan is here.
Patrick, thanks for joining us. Glad you caught the live.
They say, hey, Mr. Mexican Spec, got you live. Dean Stevenson says, because Roots got told the government to build the commercial trucks in Scotland where the unemployed lived.
Yeah, because there's no unemployment anywhere else.
Stray Bullet says, Manx style Volkswagen dune buggies were always amongst the fastest cars when I was a autocrossing table.
That's because they don't weigh anything.
Dean says that effectively ruined any cancer of Roots making a profit. Any chance, you mean? I think he means in the chance. Dan says if it's not Scottish, it's crap. Timor says, as Mexican Specs and crew, thank you for letting me be part of your crew. And you have an awesome channel and live chat. I'll be back. So awesome. I was able to see you guys today. Have to get back to work. Thank you for being here,
Thank you,
Daniel.
Dan, for joining us. I keep saying that, don't I?
What?
I hope you keep it on in the background. This is a very interesting 1961 Econoline pickup, and you would think it would have an inline six in it, but no, there's a 289 in there ready to burn those rear tires. He wants a ton of money for this thing, though. A ton.
Jay says $10 seal kit and OEM caliper, not Chinesium.
Okay, but you have to hone it out and everything else to make sure the piston moves back and forth correctly.
Mark says to Jay, hey man, yeah, thanks. I did eventually find it, and I think comments his name in the live where I asked about it. Good to know you got my back. Tabo says, depends on the caliper, I guess. I used to rebuild mine for the Valiants, but can't buy new for those.
They don't sell them? Or they don't sell them over there?
Hmm. Yeah, okay. I don't know because Daniel says see you later, buff. Oh yeah, he was saying.
Yeah, he was talking
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Buffers here.
Okay. Dean says, if I wipe my comments, I'll ruin Mexican Spectre and Mrs. Mexican Spectre's live feed. And Jay says, Mark, I met him in Buffalo circa 1994. My friend knows him. Fitzknives Oscar says, glad to have you, Daniel. Take care. Dean says, ooh, Kiwi spell check chances. Sorry, people. Because of what it
Stray
said.
Bullet wants to know how much. The asking price before travel and transport and everything is like $27,000.
I think the word you're looking for is handling and shipping.
No,
Yes.
travel and I'll stick with travel and transport. It's like 27,000, and then I need to get it to the border and everything else, and then the tariff that's on it. So yeah, he's asking a lot of money for it, but it's gorgeous.
Mark says the quickest air-cooled Volkswagen bus in the world. Jay Turnock in the VJ's Speed Show 69 Bay got his 2276cc turbo motor to propel him to a 10.87 at 134 miles per hour.
That is way too fast to be going in a Volkswagen van. Was it lowered and everything, so it had a lower center of gravity at least?
Bullet says a guy around town when I was growing up had one with the engine moved back into the bed on nitrous.
This is a cleaner build, though. I wouldn't want to be looking in the back and see an engine. I want to see this is like a regular pickup. And somebody did a really good job on this build. They really did.
Jay says Mexican Spec. I think I have a special guest. Joey Van Halen agreed to come to my live stream. She's a car writer and content creator from the Netherlands and has Volvo content.
Oh, the Bobo cars. You have a Volvo, Jay? Or had one?
Tavo says calipers on our Valiants were unique to the cars.
Oh, okay.
Shared pistons and seals with generic gearlock items, but complete calipers were never made aftermarket.
Okay. That makes sense. So they're different than the US ones because they are backwards, I guess.
Stray Bullet says it looks pretty nice. That's not bad. Dean says when Chrysler closed down the Hillman Imp and Comer and Borg Warner automatic production in Scotland, suddenly the Brighton facility 4 hours away made huge profits for Peugeot, where they made the 309s.
I'm not going to admit, I'm not going to say that I know anything about Peugeots because I've never taken the time to learn. And that was time well spent for me, not learning.
Tabo says very similar but not identical or straight swap to Mustang calipers.
Mm.
Stray Bullet says it was a Saturday night cruiser. Dean Stevenson says in the UK with US Dutch Horizon McPherson strut from suspension.
McPherson
Front
strut, but
suspension.
yeah, stray bullet. I'm sure the engine in the back of a pickup truck didn't attract any police attention whatsoever on a Saturday cruising.
Barracuda says early Volkswagen Valiants have Kelsey Hayes calipers. Don't they, Tavo? Mark says to Jay, cool. The only celebrity I had a chat with was John Ritchie from the band Exciter. Jay says, my daughter and son have Volvos right now. I traded mine in on the Mitsubishi.
Was that a good trade, Jay? In your opinion?
Daniel says, thank you, and also Buff. Mark says, once again, Spec. No, the bus wasn't lowered. I'll send you the video.
Thank you, Mark. Daniel, would you consider yourself a barber or a hairstylist?
What?
I'm just curious. He cuts hair in Petaluma, California. Daniel Morrissey.
And Jay says, cool, Mark. I met a V. Dean says, same as Ford Falcon XW front calipers. Jay says, bunch of sport people, including your Senator Scully. Tabo says, Barracuda, yes, Kelsey Hayes calipers made under license with uh, Gearlock on VJVH. Gearlock modified that same design for the VJCL.
Those are all things we don't know anything about.
Dennis Edwards is here.
Hey, Dennis. Welcome. Thanks for coming.
They say good evening, Mex Spec and Mrs. Mexican. Mrs. Spec. Hold on. Strebole says he had a dual quad tunnel ram set up to top it off.
Yeah, no attention there from police.
Glenn Nickerson, did I say hi to Glenn Nickerson?
No, he just got here. Hey,
Okay.
Glenn.
Okay. Sorry, it's hard to keep up with so many people. Glenn Nickerson, well, so many people. Well, we have 33 people, so anyway. Glenn Nickerson says, I think you need to do a deeper dive into French cars. Then you could be French Mexpec.
And I am going to say no to that, and the no is like 3 stories tall.
That's all.
Not even a no thanks, just a no.
Jay said, yes, it was cobbled together out of 3 broken cars. They gave me 2,500.
Just to get it out of your life.
Dan says, my 82 Mustang GT had Kelsey Hayes front brakes.
You guys remember the Chrysler wheels that were the Kelsey Hayes Chrysler wheels that were recalled in the late 60s or something? And Tony's talked about it. I sent him a picture of a Chevy Nova here, 76 Chevy Nova, and it had those wheels on it. I don't know how they got the bolt pattern when they were supposedly where the recalled wheels were sent to Mexico in the 60s, but or maybe it's just a copy of it. But I sent a picture to Kathy. I said, please show this to Tony and ask him if these are the wheels. He says they're very, very close to the recalled wheels. Like, how did they get onto a Chevy Nova? How does the bolt pattern even work?
Daniel says that he considers himself an old school barber.
That's good.
And Barracuda says, you know a lot, Tabo. Chris says, my 85 LeBaron GTS has Kelsey Hayes front brakes as well.
Does that raise the price when you need to find parts for them, though?
Ray Bullet says, I didn't even see Buff.
I think he's just lurking.
Mm-hmm.
He was here at the beginning, and he'll pop in if he needs to.
Tabo says, apologies for the model designation confusion. We change models at random, not yearly, so each new model had a 2-letter designation.
Just to confuse everybody.
Dean says, same design as the 1971 HQ Holden front disc. Then I used cut down HQ brake pads in my Cortina TE and my 1981 Mustang. Chris says, admit it, Max. You're a closet Peugeot fan, but are ashamed to admit it. It's okay. We don't judge much.
Nope, you're not gonna pin that on me. No way. Not a French fan at all. Cars or anything else.
Jay says, guy I work with wants a Peugeot 205 GTI, like he had as a kid in England.
I don't think we had those here. They're the little hatchbacks, but it would be a performance model, which means it didn't come to Mexico
Mm-hmm.
at that time. I think right around now is when I'm going to be able to start selling the French cars to the U.S. apart from the Renaults, the old Renaults, because they came into Mexico right around 2001, 2002, and started selling their cars, just like all the rest of them, just like Honda, just like Toyota, all of them.
Mark says, lol, when I was working at a drive shaft shop, two guys in the shop, father and son, were Mexican. Because they lived in Quebec, we call them Quebecicans. Lol. Slimo says, my Holden Ute is moving to Western Australia. A rich dude is swapping his white body Land Rover Defender. The roads here are crap.
Mm. So you're getting the 4x4 to drive on the roads there?
Dean says, we had the same problem with ROH, steel wheels in the Australian BF race cars. The odd wheel fell off. Barracuda, the John Clark fell off jokes. Barracuda says, Tavo, do you know who made the BH brake discs? I am not impressed with them. They warp so easily. Dean says, you can't slime mode, that's your life. Or you can't slime mode, that's your life. 2.5 turbo diesel slimo. PBR Barracuda.
How could it be that if it was on the
Shush.
chair?
My coffee. Well, it's not coffee, but still.
Drink. 68 Dodge Dart, anybody?
Mm.
It's been windy here, so I was just looking out the window because I heard a noise.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of weird.
Tavo says to Barracuda, I do believe, but not 101% certain, that they were cast at the Chrysler Lonsdale foundry. Aftermarket could be from anywhere. Chrysler did most of the cast bake components for all of the big three. Jay says to Mark Sobe, me and Linus Olmark were tight. Uh, he would call me on my cell phone when his Volvo needed work. Knife says, cheers, Miss Anna. I just brewed a fresh cafe myself.
Send some over here.
Especially with this weather. Because it's so freaking windy and cloudy.
But it's still in the 70s out there.
Was
The wind is cold.
Last night it went to 48. Did you notice?
No, I didn't.
Last night it went down to 48. I was freezing my ass off.
Glenn says, what about French fries or French toast? You can't slam poutine. It's the Mexican equivalent of a taco salad. Well, you lost me at the word salad.
At least I lost you at the end.
Yeah, poutine. I don't know. I've never had it since I've never been to Canada, and I don't think the donut shop here would have it. But I didn't check. Maybe I should check.
Would they have it on the? What is the place that we saw at?
That's what I was just saying. The donut place. The
donut place.
Yeah, they sell donuts there.
Yeah, the place.
Yeah, the place.
Yeah, the place.
you guys know the place.
Yeah, the place.
The place from Canada that sells donuts. That is spreading out everywhere now.
Triple says that looks pretty clean. The Nickerson says, so what about French fries or French toast? You can't slam poutine. It's the Mexican equivalent of taco salad. Where's the taco salad? Where's the taco salad? What is a taco salad?
I guess it's a salad with taco stuff in it. Hey, you guys notice? Look at the engine on this Dart. It says Automex on the valve cover, so you know it came from Mexico.
Tom Hortons? Isn't it Tim Hortons?
Tim Hortons. Yeah, something like that.
Whatever. What is a taco salad? Because you wanna know. Barracuda says, "What I think one wheel separated on them, Dean. I think Studebaker had the same problem as at Butthurst a few years earlier." Dean says, "PBR, power brake, and steering." Sabo says, "Leo lost a wheel on the VG Pacer at Oran Park, I think it was. Center just cracked and broke apart." Chris says, "Tim Hortons?" Yeah, Tim Hortons. Will they have poutine at Tim Hortons? Someone answer. Pit Snipe says, "It's about 38 degrees out there, but I swear the 20 miles per hour wind is up zero." Definitely. The wind is just what makes it the worst.
It's been windy for a while here.
Yeah. Dean says, Glenn Packard biscuits. What are Packard biscuits? Mark says to Jay, "Cool, lol, I'm so removed from anything now, there is no chance of me befriending anyone else, even regular folk." Uh, Dan says, "Timmy's." Daniel says, "My customers said we will take 48. We were 32 this morning."
Are you near the ocean, Dan? Is the coldness coming off the water?
Dan or Daniel?
Daniel,
Mira.
I know where Dan is.
Yeah, but anyway. Glenn says to Dean, "PBR Pabs Blue Ribbon." And Chris says, "Taco salad is basically all of the ingredients of taco in a bowl." That sounds tasty. Especially if you put stock on it. Can you imagine? Well, you don't need it, but can you imagine all of the ingredients of the
What you eat in tacos, not what I eat in
no, no, no,
tacos.
no, 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 not tacos. Forget about tacos. But like all of the ingredients of the flautas, all of the ingredients of the flautas.
Mhm.
Like you grab flautas from a plate and you crunch them up and you put them on a bowl and you put stock on it.
Which is what you do at the flauta place anyway, because they give
Yeah,
you the stock to put on it.
yeah, but in a bowl. That'll be so
It still
tasty.
tastes the same whether it's in a bowl or off a plate.
Yeah, but it will be soup. Buff del Campo says, "I like the valve cover." Hi, Buff.
It's
uh,
unique, Buff, for sure.
Stray Bullet says, "It's a crispy taco only in reverse." Okay. Mark says, "Mexican Spec. So Tim Hortons is more known for coffee than donuts. That's why they ran Dunkin' Donuts under."
I
What?
thought it was the other way around. I thought Dunkin' Donuts ran them out of.
But no, but that does not make sense because if they are more known for coffee than donuts, how would they run a donuts
Can
place
you say
under?
coffee and donuts?
No, it says Dan Donuts.
Oh, coffee then donuts.
Yeah. So
Oh,
how will they run a donuts place under?
well, people go to Dunkin' Donuts for coffee too.
Sure, sure, but it's a donut place. So confused. Dan says, "Family Wheel lost the wheel." Barracuda says, "I think I heard that a better quality Falcon disc would fit my BH." Mark says, "No poutine at Tim Hortons. They don't have fryers." Oh, okay.
Oh, that's a shame because that would give me a reason to go in there.
Chris says, "I've never seen poutine at Tim Hortons. We're just south of the Canadian border, and there's like zero places here at to sell poutine." Daniel says, 40 miles away.
Okay, so you probably do get some coolness from the water, even though it's 40 miles.
Dean says, "That is probably it. Barracuda and Tavo. Tavo and steel wheel failure was an HD, BF, and BG thing. The Studebaker might have been a kingpin failure at the Armstrong 500." Mark says, "Be right back. Guess what I had to deal with, lol." Stray Bullet says, "How about with a zesty salsa dressing?" Mm, I'm getting hungry now. I do have salsa. Mm. Dean says, "Irritable bowel movement, Mark." Glenn says, "With a taco salad, you can eat the bowl." Oh, I think I know.
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
okay, okay,
Yeah, that
okay.
makes more sense. I've seen that.
Yeah, Daniel says crispy taco salad bowls of warm tortilla. I think I've seen that, but it's not a Mexican thing. Uh, Yarko this year.
Hello,
Is
Yerkul,
Yarko?
Yerchul, whatever.
I'm not sure how you pronounce your name. I'm sorry. Says, do you have a link to a parts page for the RAM chargers? I own one, but I can't find any pages for part catalogs in the USA.
The only thing that we would have would be Mercado Libre in Mexico, but I don't think they send parts to the US because we can't send anything from Mexico to the US anymore
Right now.
through the post office, yeah, till they get all that worked out. So I'm not sure where we'd find the parts. What kind of parts are you needing? And please don't say tail lights because everybody's looking for the tail lights.
Buddy Garofano says Starbucks for coffee. No, you.
No, no.
Mark says, Mrs. Spec, it's because people would usually stop at those places for coffee instead of donuts. Mm. Trevor says, I drink Folgers. I like I don't remember which one I like. I think I like Folgers. No. Is the Folgers the one that you got me?
Could be. It's a familiar name to me.
No. I like another one. I don't remember right now. I'll look it up. If I look it up right now, Mr. Speck's gonna slap me in the head. Chris says Tim Hortons is a Canadian chain. Dunkin' Donuts is a New England chain. Both sell coffee and donuts. Those of us in between Canada and New England are in the battleground between the two.
Dunkin' Donuts is all the way out on the West Coast too, because they're very familiar.
Mark says the Dean Stevenson's LMAO, no dog's law.
But to be fair, Chris, I always went to the mom and pop donut stores because they had bigger donuts. Dunkin' Donuts had a regulation on how big the donut could be, which was very small, so you got screwed on the price. So
Pitsnap says, do you all pair your socks based upon where your big toenail has chewed a hole? What? I mean, if he has a hole, I usually throw him away. And Dean Stevenson says, oh, thank the log. Oh, thank the Lord. Okay. You can thank the log if you want. Chris says, the yard, have you checked Rock Auto? They have a special section for foreign market cars. To Mark, it says, Starbucks, ick, low. Daniel says, the young lady that is reading the messages is really, really good and awesome. Thank you. I try. Jar says, I just need to look up brake parts because they are not 1999 truck axles.
well, what are they then? They're supposed to be the exact same as the Ram 99 Rams um, in the U.S. They were the mechanical parts. There's no difference.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they use special Mexican brakes here, but it's weird that you can't find the right parts for it.
Dean says, bit snipe. Some of us have a nervous condition that forces us to bite our nails, so it depends on my variables. Pit snipe says, freshly ground 8 o'clock espresso. Mm. Stray Bully says, I have been doing that, Pit. I need a personal shopper in Walmart because they have all of the clothes locked up behind glass. It's a pain in the ass. Hold on, 1 second. There you go. Then it says, thank you, miss. Glenn says, the only Timmy's we had nearby, South Portland, Maine, had a Wendy's in front of it. Real weird setup. I think they have pulled out the Northeast, which is sad.
Wendy's and donuts. Get the hamburger, you get the donut, you put the hamburger meat in between the donut. I'll go for that.
And a coffee.
And a coffee. No, a frosty. It has to be a frosty at Wendy's.
No.
You'll see when we go get the red Omega. We're gonna have a frosty.
Okay. Business says loading, and then says many variables. Mm, okay. Then says, wouldn't mind doing those stripes on my truck. Dean says, Mrs. Mexican Spec is what the fucking. Chris says, oh yeah, I never said either chain was good. Local donut shops here are way better, in my opinion. In my humble opinion.
There was a local donut shop to where I lived in California, and they had the best cinnamon rolls, and then they put the frosting on the top, and then they put chocolate chips on top of that. You could have either the clear frosting or the chocolate frosting. It was so good, and they were huge.
I have a question for you.
What?
If they came out with a pill that made you able to eat gluten, would you take it?
Yes, and I'd have a pizza. I want pizza.
I'm serious.
That was a serious answer. I want pizza. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I don't think it's going to exist, but
I think they're working on it.
it's not going to exist. Every person's body is different, and it's for different reasons.
Bargada says, do you do yoga, Dean? Fitzknife says, I always line up the hole with the pinky toe, then throw them away when there's two holes.
Who uses their socks so much they get holes in them?
Me. Patrick says, did I say Patrick?
Yes.
I feel like I did. Maverick Falcon, interesting.
Yeah. In this market, they had to make sure that that was a 1970 model, and they had to make sure that the public knew that the Maverick was the continuation of the Falcon. That was the same Falcon script that they used on the '69 Falcon.
I feel like that bug is winking at me.
It is. So they put the Falcon script on the back of the Mavericks for 2 years here, 70, 71, and then they got rid of it just so people knew that it was the continuation of that car. Still had a V8 and a stick shift in that car, by the way.
And Jarl says 1978 to 1984 Dutch rear drums.
Really? That's weird.
It's been hell finding parts because they use older axles and parts.
So you can't find parts for the '84 if it's an '84 drum. Wouldn't it be an '84 axle? Then you could just use the parts from that.
Dean says, I'm worried about catching foot and mouth disease. We had a suspected outbreak in early 1980s. I know the cause, Barracuda. Triple says, swap the axles or to something newer, Jar.
That's a lot of work, especially when it wouldn't be original to the truck.
Dean says, dang, foot and mouth spell Czech Republic of he. Barracuda says, I've been known to put my foot in my mouth.
I think we all have, Barry, at one time or another.
Glenn says, that's not a donut, that's a diabetic coma in the making.
Sounds good to me, Glenn.
Dean says, would you do it with a class Barracuda? I can tell. You can't buff out the diamond hard edge of confidence and intelligence. Fitzknife says, we went from Wendy's to cinnamon rolls, and now, and y'all talking Cornhusker? Wendy's chili and cinnamon rolls is a thing here.
I know it's not an original idea. I was just mentally putting it together and tasting it.
Barracuda says, sweet talker.
We don't have Wendy's here, by the way, Pitt. They're only in the northern states in the country. So when we go buy the red Omega, which is in Chihuahua, there's a Wendy's there that I want to go get a triple.
Business says, I have very aggressive big toenails, Spec. I trimmed them with an angle grinder. Jar says, it's a 94 plus axle, but the brake drums are older.
Why would the brake drums be older though? Because they in the factory they pulled them off the shelf to put them on there. Maybe somebody else put them on there in the last 26 years, 27 years. I don't know. It's weird.
Dean says, "Hey, normally the punks just laugh and ask me, 'Hey, dude, how does a trash talker like you still have 32 teeth in your head?' So I'm slowly learning." And then he says, "Apply abrasive disc, Pit Snipe Husker. Saw it on Dumb and Dumber."
Yeah, that was a documentary.
I don't like that movie. Pit Snipe says, "Wendy's chili is so so. I'm sure y'all got some great chili.
I wouldn't know. I don't eat it.
I wanna try it." Uh,
Chili isn't it really isn't a thing here, is it?
no, tenemos frijoles charros.
Huh?
Frijoles charros.
Yeah, but that's not chili
No,
with meat and everything.
por eso te digo. Rebel says, "Can you just swap the backing plates, Yar?" Barracuda says, have you, no wait, you have to be careful with heat buildup doing that, Pit Snipe. Mm? Chris says, "Don't know about Mexico, but here, when this has gotten crazy expensive, I can eat at a real restaurant for the same money."
I'm sure that's true. I'm not. I won't know until I get there, but I know we have in Guadalajara. There's Arby's, and like I hadn't eaten Arby's for 20 something years, and I went in there, and it's a different taste now because I can't eat the bread. Just to eat the meat in a bowl, it just doesn't work. You got to have the bread. You got to hold it in your hands. All that stuff. So I was very disappointed and have. There are so many better options in that mall for that kind of money. So no, there's a really small place that sells barbacoa, which is pork meat in certain kind of sauce.
It's meat juices.
Yeah, in meat juices, whatever. And I always thought, I mean, because here where we live, barbacoa has chili in it, but over there, it's got such a good taste to it, and they're really cheap. Each little taco is really cheap, so you could buy 5 or 6 of them, for not much money. You could have it in the hard shell. You could have it in like a burrito type thing, or open faced, however you want it, or buy a mixture of them. It's just really really good. That is what I get when I go back there. So really
Talking,
really looking forward to it.
talking about chain restaurants, did you hear that McDonald's is being sued for their
Yeah.
for the McRib?
Uh-huh.
McRib? Is that called?
Who here didn't know that McRib, the word rib meant the shape of the sandwich? You can't have rib meat. Nobody is going to take meat off of ribs, which are very valuable, and sell it to McDonald's to make that. Nobody's going to do that. It's common sense that it does not have rib meat in it. It's pork, whatever it is, whatever they make it into that shape, whatever kind of pieces of pork or whatever. But anybody that thought there was actually rib meat in there is an idiot.
Well, that's rude.
Hopefully, I didn't call any of you idiots. But I always knew it was the shape of the rib. They make it the shape of a rib. It was not that it has rib meat in it. Somebody's just trying to look for a payday.
Wait.
Maybe if they sue, they'll get their money back for the sandwich, but there wouldn't be any punitive damages or anything. It's not even we don't have it here. They don't sell it here ever, and it doesn't sell over there.
We've had it.
The McRib.
We had it before, I remember.
I don't.
I remember I had it once. Dean says, "Dean at Wendy's, eat here or take away, sir?" Stray Bullet says, "You can buy Wendy's chili in the grocery store." Dr. Campos says, "Charge your wheels." Stephen Andrews says, "Hello, Mrs. Spec." Miss Spec.
Hey, Steven. Thanks for joining us.
Pit Snipe Husker says, "Barry, I'm just tickled to death that I beat my hangnails after 40 years of irritation and pain. I gotta let them grow longer to keep from getting ingrown." Tribble says, "That's gross, Mexican." What's gross?
What's gross?
Did I miss something? Dean says, "Dean, well, if it's that expensive, I'll just have the lick price. I've heard Wendy's often licked, never eaten." What? Chris says, now that's a handsome transporter.
Air cooled.
Barracuda says, I have my father's thick big toenails. I have to use garden pruners on them.
Pruning shears. Shears.
And Tao says, just for confusion's sake, Wendy's down here is a completely different company. Started as an ice cream bar, now best known for their hot dogs.
Oh, but so it doesn't have the red-headed girl as the mascot. You're probably better off with that.
Glenn says, how did we get to on toenails? TMI. I know, right?
Glenn, we didn't get on toenails. They got on toenails. Whoever's talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about it. Mrs. Spec is just reading words.
Dean says, I know, Tavo. I find it very ironic. Patrick says, never thought about it, but yeah, it is rib shaped.
Yes.
Fitznap says, sorry, Glenn, I'm doing laundry. I'm being anal retentive about pairing my socks.
Nobody sees your socks, Pit. It's okay if you have two different socks on at the same time.
I've done it.
Punky Brewster proved that.
Patrick says, I've never had one. Dean says, Fitznap, he's always candid and honest, Glenn. Of the Campo says, pork snouts, lips, and a-holes.
I didn't want to know that, Buff.
You don't know.
Not that they sell them here, but they still taste good with the sauce.
I can't really say anything because we eat tongue. Body Carfano says real ribs have bones.
Exactly. Who's gonna take the little meat that ribs have and take it off the bones and then package it up and sell it to McDonald's to make the McRib? Nobody's gonna do that because the meat on the bone is worth a lot more than selling it to McDonald's. Nobody would ever do that. That's common sense.
Mark says also the taste of the McRib sandwich was in the sauce. I forgot to put the sauce packet on once and it didn't have a taste. Trey Bullet says I was never a fan of the McRib. Now the McDLT was one tasty burger.
Mm.
Glenn Nickerson says the ribs are stamped into the meat or whatever it is. Trey Bullet says why don't they bring back the McDLT? Patrick says, "What is that?" And what the lawsuit against McDonald's is no rib meat in the McRib.
Yes, that's what it's for. A couple of people. There's a Steve Leto did a video on it, and a bunch of other people have been talking about it. But I hope the judge laughs at them. I really do.
Steven Andrews says, "Up here we have taco time at the Chris, which I love, but and like everywhere, it's about as expensive as a sit-down place."
That's ridiculous because tacos are one of the cheapest things that you can make. The tortilla doesn't cost very much. The ingredients, because they don't give you very much in it, doesn't cost very much. So there's no reason for them to be charging other than you're paying all the overhead and employees and everything else. So no.
Dean says, "Redheaded gals rock."
Who said that?
Dean.
Okay, time him out for that. Because that's just no.
That's an opinion. Both the Campos says to Stray Bullet, McDLT was my favorite. Bisnife says, I did it and I'll do it again. Dean Stevenson says, nice Mox GTS, love color. Stray Bullet says, it was awesome, Buff. Steven Andrews says to Bob the Campo, I love the McDLT too. Dean Stevenson says, I have a lovely Vietnamese friend who would Mexican Spectre, and he'd always make coin doing it.
Doing what?
I don't know. I'm not that behind.
What was your friend doing?
Stray Bullet says, my mom always told me to wear clean underwear and match socks in case I got into an accident and I had to go to the hospital.
And your mom thought that the doctors and nurses were going to judge you? They had bigger things on their plate, bigger problems to deal with if you're in a hospital.
Bisnap says, be right back, gotta go nurse my ailing sobrino.
Oh, tell them to get better.
Barracuda says, how about Berucas then? What's Berucas, a restaurant?
Veruca was the name of the girl on Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I don't know what they did with that name.
Stray Bullet says, the beef and cheese are expensive here now.
Yeah. but they don't give you very much in it, Stray Bullet, so it should not cost the same as a full hamburger because you're not getting that kind of meat or cheese. There's not much in each taco.
Double says Stray Bullet, depending on the accident, the underwear might not be clean by the time you get to the hospital.
Exactly. So you can't judge. Hey, if you go in the hospital and it's not clean, say, I swear when I left the house it was. I swear to God. So nobody can judge.
Dean says we had to deliver a 37-inch cooker through his 36-inch door at his shop. The Vietnamese guy removed the door with his power drill and said, "Come on, guys, bring it in." Trevor says, "Mom was crazy."
Not that crazy, Stray Bullet, because it's still in your head today.
Glenn says the judge should break for recess and get my grapes for the jury. Then everyone will show up for jury duty.
If they're even selling them right now, because they only sell them once in a while.
Bisnav says, Grandma always checked my glove box to make sure that I had a pair of clean underpants in there. Lol.
That's something I've never carried in a glove box. Nor have I carried gloves in a glove box. I have on these trips.
I've carried underpants in my purse, but they were not my underpants. They were the child's underpants, just in case.
Thinking ahead.
Yeah. Steven Andrews says minimum wage in King County, WA.
Washington
is $20.85 per hour. So yeah, tacos are $3.49.
That's not really expensive though, because we pay like 50 pesos or something, 50, 60 pesos for one here. But when you get a taco here, when you go to one of these little taco places, they'll serve you the taco, which is just the meat and the tortilla, and then they put all this stuff on the table so you could load it with guacamole and sauces and vegetables and cucumbers and all kinds of stuff. So you can make it as big as you want. And even though there's, you could really fill up on all that stuff on each taco. So yeah, I seriously doubt they do that over there though.
Pericar Francis, if I got in an accident, my underwear probably be soiled.
Yeah. Here's the Westphalia I told you guys about that I found. For some reason, they have it inside a building. They're taking pictures with this light on the roof, like they're professional photographers or something. Didn't really help the exposure. But I'm assuming the van is supposed to be orange, because anybody that puts orange plaid seats in a red van needs to be taken out back and taught a lesson, because they just do not go together. No, it is a red van. It's red. No, that's a no.
Daniel says Mexican Spec is 100% correct about the ribs.
Yep. It's my favorite food, Daniel.
Dean says Veruca Salt's singer had red hair.
Are we supposed to know who that is?
Well,
was that a group?
Singer.
Veruca Salt's singer. That's an S. That's plural. Like it's a band.
No, it's a name. Slimo says, do you have the McWrap? They are McWrap. McCrap.
Oh, okay. So that's like a burrito? A burrito from McDonald's? Yeah, we're going to put that in the no category. You don't go to McDonald's for Mexican food.
Dean says, Everlong was about Louis Post.
Louis
Post?
I don't know.
Streboli says, that's nice. Dabo says, looks like hemi orange to me.
The inside was orange, but the outside looked red to me.
It looked orange to me. Walter Campos says, that red band looks very orange.
I've never been colorblind, I swear. That looked red to me, because when you put it against the orange of the interior, it's very, very, very different.
It's 2 against 1. I'm sorry, darling. I'm sorry.
But I'm in control of the picture, so.
No, I'm in control of the pictures.
I collected the pictures.
Do you want me to put them back?
My vote has more weight than anybody else's here. No, I don't. Well, I don't want to see it again.
I'm in control of the pictures then. Glenn says, to Slimo, Mickey D's snack wraps are good. I had 2 spicy wraps for lunch today.
Buff, how's Kim doing today?
Mark says, look at that safe child seat.
This is a good looking American. This car is called American here. That's the name of it. This is a very clean car for an early car.
Stray is asking if it's a Hornet.
No, it's an American. American.
America, hell yeah. Steven says, I get a veggie stuffed taco and 2 crisp burritos at taco time. $20, 1 cent. We got a taco
Wow.
time in my hometown before we got a McDonald's.
$20 for three items? That's $6.66 each. Right?
Oh.
Six something each. Wow. Mrs. Spec and I go to this taco place, and if we get one taco each, which is actually the taco, it's a corn tortilla, but they give you 2 corn tortillas, and there's enough meat in the taco that I get, so you could actually split it in half, and you have 2 tacos. So, and then she gets whatever you get. What do you get?
Una mixta.
Yeah, okay, so the one she gets has cheese in it, and then she piles on a whole bunch of stuff, and it's the same thing with two tacos. So that comes out to $15-16, I think, like 300 and something pesos with the drink, something like that. So it's not too bad, but it's really good food. I mean, we don't leave there hungry, that's for sure. And if we want another one, it bumps it up to, I don't know, $20 or something for 2 each.
Sorry. Lester says maybe red versus orange depends on the monitor.
It also could be, Lester, that where they took the pictures inside that room or whatever that had the weird lights, that may have changed the color of the van too. But you can't change the color of that interior. The green van that I told you about, the Westphalia, was that same setup with the pop top and the green plaid interior, just like that. Very nice van.
Tavo says I have to go for a short while. Breakfast is served.
Ooh, breakfast, yes.
Enjoy, Tavo. Treble says Morgan.
Yeah.
Dean says I have a successful relationship. Never argue over who controls the vertical and the horizontal. The twain shall never mix. Hold on. Sorry. I'm fixing my seat. Strawberry says 2 crispy tacos supreme and a burrito supreme at Taco Bell is $13.56 here. Daniel says
How big are they though, Stray Bullet? I mean, does that satisfy you? 3 different things.
Daniel says if you tell the doctor your underwear your underwear was clean when you left the house, he might slap some gloves on to examine you.
Daniel, I would think the smell would get to him first before you told him anything. So he would definitely tell the nurse to clean you first, and then he can examine you because he's not dealing with that.
Yep.
Doctors don't deal with that stuff.
Nope. Barry says George American. Dean says taco about it. Steven says crisp burritos is $4.69 each. Soft tacos are $7.69. No drink.
How could a soft taco be $7.69? How big is that thing? Is that like a burrito?
Burra medio metro.
No, they don't have anything that big over there.
You should. Chris says, "Oh, that would be a good business."
No, it wouldn't. Because what the food costs are over there, you wouldn't be able to sell it for enough money to make any money.
Fair.
And all the insurance and everything else that you have to do over there. If you sell it on the street, that's a different story.
Chris says, so estamos having tacos or Tim Hortons for breakfast?
Probably tacos.
Jay Waze is here.
Hey, Jay. Thank you for joining us.
It says Happy New Year, Mexican Spec.
Happy New Year to you, too. How's your New Year been so far? We're a whole 10 days into it. The only reason I put this Beetle on here is because of the wheels. Tell me how you like the wheels, guys. Gris, you want a set of these wheels for your Beetle? Not enough people know it's a Volkswagen.
Uh, Dean says, wait, now they're talking to each other. Barracuda says he's probably having Vegemite on toast.
Oh, don't say that. That I'll lose my appetite.
Stray Bullet says sometimes I get one extra taco Mexican. Jay says this car is for Arnold Schwarzenegger.
The Combi? I mean the Safari?
Steven Andrews says, oh yeah, kinda, but not huge. Buddy Carafano says, went to doctors, asked for urine and stool samples, so I handed him my underwear. You
Make them work for it, buddy.
stop. You stop it. Stop it. Chris says, I do not want a set of those wheels.
How about the teddy bear wheels? You want a set of those for your Beetle?
Teddy bear?
Yeah, they'll look really good. You gonna try this one, Mrs. Spec?
Wait.
I'm just getting that urine smell now.
Stop it.
It's hitting me.
Stop it. Dean's what?
You
Come
never
on.
know how mixed up Australian. Turn it around.
That's what I did, and it flipped itself.
Stupid technology.
You never know how mixed up Australians
Australian.
and Kiwis are until
I already lost it here.
you talk to them on Mexican
I can read it.
Specs Lives. Uh,
J.
J.
He didn't put J backwards.
Stray says, where did they get those wheels?
They sell them here.
Jay says, have you ever thought about getting cars from Cubs? They have some cool old cars here.
That should say Cuba. But no, I don't want any cars from Cuba. I am more original, more a freak about originality than Tony is.
Dean says, Polycar Farnos Wise. Jay confirms Cuba. Mark says, I saw wheels with penises on them.
Are you sure they were penises, Mark, or did you see them as penises? Now we have questions, Mark.
Trevor says, Dean is speaking Russian now. Barracuda says, you left out a fluid body. Driveway says, I just thought new wheels for the Beetle. Actually, they're laser engraved and say Miguel loves Peugeots on them.
I think you got that wrong. Get your money back, Chris. Get your money back on that.
Jay says, Cuba's good for parts cars.
I wouldn't say that, Jay, because they live on an island and there's salt water all around them. So there's no way those cars are not rusted out. I'm sure they're fixing them all the time to keep them going, but there's nothing original about them.
Mark says, Cuban 57 Chevy with a Lada engine.
A lot
Lada?
engine. Yeah, they have Russian engines in them, and no thanks.
Dean says, if it's upside down, Jen, a Mexican Spec, it is actually 69.
You gotta love these big Ford LTDs. That looks like such a comfortable interior. Big old seat. But for some reason, people are asking big money for these here. I'm not sure if anybody's actually buying them, but they're actually asking lots of money for them. They used to be worthless. Should I go get my... I'm going to have to get my phone now. The dog is making his 2 cents be known. My phone is very slow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see if the picture came in. Are those penises?
I play with it.
They could be, Mark. They could be.
Jay says Mexico is coastal too. Some cars have rust too.
Yes, the cars in the coastal areas, like where I am, do have rust. That's why there's very few old cars sitting around here, except for mine. And they are. I see some rust growing on those too.
Bob Campos says Cuba, a 57 Chevy with a Russian tractor engine is not progress.
No.
Jay says nothing beats California cars. California and Texas, very dry cars.
Yeah.
Stray Bullet says you can turn that car into a lowrider.
Most people don't do that with a four-door though.
Tavo says I was permitted to bring breakfast to the computer so I don't miss the chat. Yay!
Who did you ask permission from, Tavo?
And what are you having for breakfast?
The cats?
Bob the Campos says Jay, Arizona cars are the best.
I don't think so, Buff, because the paint is usually burned off of them. You have decent in the interior too. California, Southern California cars in the valley in Los Angeles, not at the coast, they're the cleanest that you're going to find, but people know that, so prices are really high there.
Jay says where's Tony in the chat?
Who said that?
Jay.
He's not here yet. He said he'll pop in one time, but he's probably actually doing real work. It is Saturday afternoon. Maybe he's racing a car on the dirt. Sorry, I didn't say racing. Maybe he's driving a car on the dirt.
At legal speeds. Barracuda says Vegemite on toast. Chris says Tavo, the chat is dying to know what you're having for breakfast. We have a betting pool going. Glenn says Tavo, don't get jelly on the keyboard or you're dead man.
He'll just have to get another keyboard because it'll glue the keys together.
Stray says socialism automobile engine. Tavo says Australian Valiants and Holtons went to Indonesia in large numbers. Plenty still going there, but with Mercedes or Nissan diesel engine swaps.
That's probably why they're still running.
Tavo says my temporary carer, the kid's mother.
Okay.
Jay says Tavo, they had Monaro in USA as Buick, right? Tavo says to Chris, sausages, bacon, and eggs.
You can have bacon? You can have sausage?
Very good as Pontiac.
Pontiac.
Mark says racing by yourself is called testing. Lol.
Yes, but Tony in his video said that it's illegal to race on state land, but if you're just driving on it and not causing harm, then it's completely legal. So you can't. I had to erase the word racing.
Bob Del Campo says to Jay, Pontiac.
Pontiac.
Patrick says, did I lose audio? Came back. It's quiet. Did I?
No, our microphones are on, and I see the thing here going. I can get it in the red if I want to.
Stop it. Jay says Tony doesn't know how to use a computer. He can't type in chat. His wife does that for him on his lives.
We saw he came into Buff's live one time, and it was him. That's why I asked, who is it? Is it Tony or is it Kathy? But it was him. He ignored me, of course, as he always does.
Mark says to Patrick, I'll go here. Yeah, it was only Patrick that had an issue. Dean says that's ISO or SI units. Stray Bullet, how dare you denigrate freedom units? Jay says to Tavo, did you watch Summer Knots in Canberra, Australia? Cool car show. I went a few years ago when in Australia. Cool show. Patrick says it's back. Headset timed out. Oh, okay.
Some more tech problems.
Yeah.
Gotta love tech.
Tavo says to Jay, Summer Knots doesn't interest me any more than V8 supercars. Zero. Jay says Tony smoking and watching.
He's probably in his shop working, doing his video, because he usually puts out a video for Sunday before the live. So I wouldn't expect him to be watching or coming in here.
Josh Holman is here.
Hey Josh, welcome.
Mm, Sorry. Dean says freedom eunuchs are sacred and special, which is why they are only used in 3 countries. I wonder if you actually try to say eunuchs, or it was a
Eunuch. That's a U in there.
yeah eunuch. Hmm. Jay says, have you sold the car to Tony?
No, he's not in the buying mood. He's not a buyer, and there would be nowhere to get it to him because I mean I guess we could send it to Jacksonville and then have the transport company pick it up and deliver it to him, but he wants to give everything away, so he's not looking for anything new.
Any new toys?
No, and Dr. Art doesn't want to spend anything for anything that he buys.
Chris says, let me check Tony's secret tracking device. He's at Costco filling the van with shut up sticks for tomorrow's stream.
I wonder if they actually buy those anymore because it was quite an expense just to keep the dogs quiet, which is why he has Kathy in another room now handling that while he's handling the live. So it cut a lot out of their budget.
Glenn says, nice Mustang.
Yeah, it is a pretty clean Mustang, although I'm not sure why they feel the need to paint interior parts the same color as the car. I don't get that. I included this Nova here because it has the Buick Skylark front end. It's a 6-cylinder, but it's a manual on the floor, I think. Worst experience with a sale. Someone really hate it and want money back. Um, no, no. And I say that because the person that did ask was a crazy person. So I'm gonna say a no.
On my end, the worst experience with a sale,
Oh yeah, I can say yes because
the
of
black
the
car,
black car.
the black car.
Yeah, yeah. The black AMC that I have sitting out in front of my house that we bought. It's coming up on 3 years now that we bought the car, and the guy sent me the money, and then for some reason started sending me messages. I don't know if he just went flipped mentally or whatever, but he supposedly there was another guy that was his friend that was sending me messages saying that I need to return the money, do this, do that. But when the money hit the account, I sent him a message saying the money's in the account. What do you want to do? He says, go buy the Spirit. Go buy the car. He wants his car. Fine. So we were in Guadalajara at the hotel, and he starts sending me the after the car was purchased. He's sending me messages saying, I want my money back. I want my money back. This and that, and you scammed me. You did this. You did that. I have everything documented. It's not a problem with that. Everything's printed out. Everything's documented. But he never arranged shipping or anything to come pick up the car and threatened me, we're coming to get you and all that stuff. Fine, whatever. So the car's been here for 3 years, and the car doesn't belong to me really. The car belongs to him. But after that, nothing. And I realized that he was stage 4 cancer and all kinds of stuff. But you know that was a pretty bad experience. I try not to deal with people with kind of mental problems like that. But I mean, it's like he flipped a switch. I'm going to buy all these cars from you. I want this. I want 10 of them. I want this. I want that. Then all of a sudden, you're a crook. I want my money back. So I don't know. The car's sitting here and been sitting here for almost 3 years now. I've been taking care of it and cleaning it and paying the registration on it and everything. So with the storage fees and everything, we're just considering it not his car anymore. But I have no idea where he is. He hasn't contacted me in over 2 years. So yeah, that was a bad experience.
Barracuda says, from what I've seen, Summer Nuts is a delinquent haunt fest much more than it used to be. Am I talking too high? I think I am. Stray Bullet says, find one in the United States to sell Tony Mexican. Just tell him it's from Mexico.
Why? What would be the point? The whole thing is that it's a special Mexican car with no smog equipment on it, just engine and ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Jay says, what cars do you own?
Who's what?
Jay Wise says, what cars do you own? Like personal cars or like for sale?
I don't know any cars for sale, but if you go to the video that I made for to thank everybody at the beginning of the year, I showed all the cars that I have in my backyard, except for my Fury, and she's camera shy.
Stray Bullet says, an Apollo?
No, Buick Skylark in the front, Chevy Nova in the back. Apollo's a Buick.
So Skylark Nova?
Yes, but it's a Nova in Mexico.
Slimo says, I had a giant sombrero for summer gnats. Okay. Lester says, oh, that explains why Kathy is missing. Thanks.
Yeah, she's not on. She's keeping the dogs quiet on the Sunday lives.
Jay says, Barry, I have been a few years ago. For most part, it's great, nice cars, but yes, some silly people too. It's like a typical party anywhere. They're talking about the car
Yeah,
show.
the car show in Australia.
Mm-hmm. Patrick says to Stray Bullet. He said it's a Nova Buick nose. I'm guessing that's how they was in Mexico.
Yeah, that's how they came out of the factory. Then they also had a Malibu Rally, Rallye, on the front grille. It was actually a Nova, but that was the V8 4-speed manual car, the top of the line, which was similar to the SS in the U.S. Just the Mexican car had no smog and more horsepower and more fun.
Stray Bullet says that looks like a hatchback.
It is the Novas are hatchbacks here.
Mm-hmm. Chris says, did the guy pass away?
I have no way of knowing, Chris.
Yeah.
I have no way of contacting him. There's no phone numbers or anything. Um, just I have no way of knowing. But it's been 3 years now, so I'm not expecting him to come knock on my door and say, "Hey, you have my car," because I would be charging. I've kept it. I've spent a lot of money on it. I have done a lot of repairs on it. I have to do a lot more repairs on it. And it's the black AMC Spirit that has the AMX stickers all over it. It's a really nice looking car.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's getting worse because it's sitting out in the sun there.
Yeah.
The stickers are drying out. I'm gonna have to go out there and clean it and put some wax over the stickers and stuff to protect it.
Jay says, why mix and match car parts in Mexico? Why not copy it like the US version? It's not cheaper to mix the parts.
Jay, I think the car companies in Mexico wanted people to know they were Mexican cars. All of the companies did it. Chrysler put like Aspen front ends on the Diplomat, and Chevy did that with the Nova, and Ford did that with the Mustang. They're all the companies did it to purposely make sure that the Mexican cars don't look like the U.S. cars. I don't know if there was some agreement at some point with between the U.S. companies and the Mexican companies, because they all seemed to do it in the 70s. All of them, 70s and 80s, they all did it. I don't know if it was required, but that's just how it was.
Why am I?
I don't need to put a mechanics lien on it, Stray Bullet, because I have the ownership documents. It was never transferred to him or anything. I have the car and the documents. So basically, it's my car, after all this time. And Mrs. Spec wants to drive it, but every time I fix one thing on it, something else happens. Right now, it's got a 4.6-liter inline six in it that when I start it up, or even when I'm turning it over, it's pumping water out the left side of the engine where the head is. And I really have to get out there and look at it, but I really haven't had time or the inclination to do it.
Jay says, wasn't the Volkswagen Beetle made in Mexico into the late 1970s and it was the early 60s version, right? Why such a long run and old model?
This is gonna blow your mind, Jay, but the last Volkswagen Beetle rolled out of the factory around June or July of 2003. the rear engine air cooled Beetle. The last ones were the Ultimate Edition, which were VINed as 2004 models, but they were made in 2003. And that was the runaround car for companies, for people that didn't have a lot of money. And it was exactly the same as a 60. Well, Chris can tell you which vehicle, which model it was, but it's basically a 1968 Beetle US version that was sold up until 2003. But they're just runaround vehicles. When they stopped making that, and they were using it for the taxis in Mexico City, which was probably why they kept it in production so long. But when Mexico passed a law that says all taxis have to have 4 doors, then they didn't need the Beetle anymore. So then they started bringing out these little cheap cars like the Nissan Versa, and the little cars like the ones that were made in India. It was actually a Hyundai, but it was sold through Pontiac, I think. The little Pontiac Matisse and the little Chevy, that they use that, the little cars like that.
Josh Homan says, and not just in Mexico. I will be talking about the cars having different parts.
Yeah,
Patrick says Canadian production did the same.
yeah, it was inside their country, and those were the decisions they made. They put Pontiac cars on Chevy chassis, so it looked weird. There was so much room in the wheel wells.
Patrick says love. I think he's talking about this little pickup truck.
Yeah, it is a love.
Mopar Dennis here.
Hey, Dennis, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
He answers to Jay saying Mexico and Brazil.
Well, Brazil had the last Volkswagen van, but Mexico had the last Volkswagen Beetle.
And Josh Homan says because it's cheap to keep producing the same car for many years, saves on design and cost. And Jay says Mopar, yes, they made them in Brazil too. Stray Bullet says if you put an American front bumper on that love, it would be awesome.
It is an American truck, Stray Bullet. It was imported from the U.S. All of the mini trucks here were brought in the early 2000s, and they were kept in nice condition. This is not a rusted out Hulk. It's still in really nice condition after all these years.
Jay says, why not make the Yugo built for economy, not speed?
Because the Volkswagen was already being made, and Yugo isn't a thing anymore. It was only a thing for a couple of years. So, like I was saying before, all of the air-cooled vehicles that were made in the factory in Puebla here had the same engine. The vans had the Type 1 engine, the Beetles had the Type 1 engine, the Brasilia had the Type 1 engine. Anything in that factory used the same engine. So when they wanted to put the liquid-cooled engine in the Volkswagen vans, they used an engine that was already in the factory, the Golf engine, and put it right in there. They made it work. So they're not going to go out and make a special engine for a special vehicle. If it was in the factory, they used it. They're not going to change up. Oh, this car gets a bigger engine than this one. Nope, they're all the same. Everything's the same.
Josh Homan says there's a Honda sticker in the truck, even though it was made by Isuzu.
Well, the owner here may not know it was a Isuzu. That is possible.
Jay says, how do electric cars sell in Mexico?
They're selling better and better. BYD, we just took a ride in one yesterday. BYD sells a Dolphin Mini here. It's a little subcompact 4-door little hatchback. It's about 400,000 pesos, which is about $20,000. And I asked the guy how he likes it. He says it's great. He drives it all day long for Uber, and he charges it at nighttime. In the morning, it has a full charge, and he goes the rest of another day. He doesn't have to stop and charge it. He says he had about 100 kilometers on it, and he was at 76% of his battery left. So he could go 400 kilometers in a day on that battery, and he's really happy with it. And this car that's coming up, this yellow thing, Dean, this is a Fox body Mustang.
What?
This is a Fox body Mustang.
I don't believe you.
It is. Somebody took this Fox Body Mustang and customized the heck out of it, front and back and inside and upside down. And look, it's got a pull-out thing for drinks.
Hold on. Steven Andrews says taxis up here almost altogether free.
Yeah, whatever they can grab, or whatever they get the best deal on.
Stray Bullet says, I used to have a Chevy Love. I wish I could have it back.
Yeah, everyone I've ever been in, you tap the key and the engine starts and runs forever.
Jay Way says that's what's that Volkswagen wagon? That was cool. They should have made that. Looks like small bus.
The Volkswagen wagon in the US was a squareback. We didn't have a squareback here. We had one that was designed in Brazil called the Brasilia. And it's basically a Volkswagen Beetle with, basically an extra storage inside. It's exactly the same vehicle, same instruments, same engine, same transmission, same everything.
Stray Bullet says maybe it's just that the bumper is painted. Lester the Saber says Volkswagen Beetle was a much better car than the Yugo.
Much better. Nobody ever drove a Yugo across the country.
Tabo says tooling costs a mozza. The more use you get out of it, the more cars built from it. The cheaper it gets to make each car.
Yeah, and they use the heck out of the stampings and everything for the Beetle. That's for sure.
Jay says, are lowriders, JY says, are lowriders still popular? I remember seeing those everywhere in California in the 1980s. Do they have those in Mexico?
That's a California thing. Those were the Mexicans in California that did that. People generally do not do lowriders here. It's not a thing. I mean, there are some that I've seen some Volkswagens that have air suspension in it and stuff, but it's not a culture here.
It's a very specific thing for clubs, but not really. Mm,
The roads that we have to drive on would kill a lowrider here, especially with
mhm.
those tiny little 13-inch tires. It would go straight into the pothole.
JY says, Gustavo, good to see you here. Keep well, my man, and keep it Mopar, my man. Davo says to Stray Bullet, we got the same love down under. I believe bumpers were painted white for our market. Stray Bullet says, still a lot of low riders in California, Jane. Steven Andrews says, ay caramba. Buster Campos says, that's ugly.
Yeah, but it's a custom car, Buff. It was their taste.
Mark says, yeah, because you would have to be drunk to drive that abortion.
Yep.
Pitsnap says, okay, I'm back. The boy will survive. Just a little crud. What's
Mm-hmm.
crud? What's crud?
You have to ask him how he's using it.
Pitsnap, what's crud? Stray Bullet says, I don't recall seeing them painted there, Tavo. It seems like they were always chrome.
It's easier to be chrome. If you damage it, you go buy a new one at the mini truck store, which they had in California mini truck stores.
Oh.
We had it here too when I first got here, right behind the English school. We walked by it yesterday.
Mark says, lol, is that bar off the windshield PVC?
Good question.
JY says, Tavo, the Australian muscle cars cost too much, right? A Falcon is 100,000 today for 73 model coupe. Here you can get Nova for 20,000. Where's here? Where are you?
He's in the U.S.
Steven Andrews says in the early 70s we got the Volkswagen 411 and 412, similar to the Type 3.
Yeah, wasn't very popular though.
Fitznap says Sandro's Garage from Donut/Real Mechanic Stuff on YouTube is still building their lowriders and those gorgeous graphics. Driveway with Smith says, also, sorry, Chris says Volkswagen Type 4s, 411 and 412s, were only sold here in the US for 4 years. They were a placeholder car until the water-cooled Volkswagens made it to production.
Wasn't it the thing that didn't that have like the Super Beetle suspension? They tried to make it safer over the square backs and stuff, just like they replaced the regular Beetle with the Super Beetle. That's the way it looks to me.
JY says, what do you like best, Chevy, Ford, or Mopar?
Who's he asking?
I think you. And Chris answers, moped or no car?
I've had them all and I have them all. So what I always thought was I like from the 70s or 60s and 70s, I like Dodge vans, Ford cars, and Chevy trucks.
Mm. Mark says, I don't like the way that front bumper fills the gap on that Beetle.
I don't know why anybody would use that bumper, but it was his choice.
Chris says, not a fan of that Beetle's ground effects either.
No,
Patrick says, agreed, Mark just looks off. Lester says, I third that.
I think you're fourth at this point, Lester.
Yeah. JY says, Pasadena, USA.
Jay, you live in Pasadena? Really?
Pasadena.
Yeah. My dad went to Pasadena City College there.
Stray Bullet says, I had a 411. Don't miss it.
There's a glowing
Review.
review.
Chris Knife says, crud is a generic term for crap. He's a little stuffy, sore throat, not temp.
Oh, okay, so he's a little sick.
He's 18 now, but like all my nephews, he's a cystic fibrosis. So grandma gets nervous and makes me go play nurse.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad that he's okay. I
1 second.
don't know why you guys don't like hearses. They're such nice cars to drive.
My favorite story of
Yeah.
yours that is not actually yours that you told me was that of your friend that was transporting a body that was not discovered until a couple weeks later or something.
Yeah.
And when he was pulled over, he jumped out of the car and the police was like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "You don't want to be in there."
No, it was a police woman that pulled him over. This was in the
Well,
this was
tell it from the beginning.
well, yeah, he did first calls for the funeral home, and the body hadn't been discovered for quite some time, so you can imagine how ripe it was. So he had it in his first call car, and he was on the freeway, and he was driving fast, and he got pulled over. So he stopped. He jumped out of the car, and the female officer says, "Get back in that car. Get back." He says, "No, I'm not going to get back in that car. And if you can get in that car, if you can sit in that car with that smell, you can give me any ticket you want to." So, so no, he did not get back in that car. With the air going, with a vehicle moving at that speed, it was blowing the smell behind him, and he could actually drive. But no, sitting in the car, no, no, that's a no-no. No, not going to
Mm-hmm.
happen.
Hold on. Mark says the origin story of those lowrider graphics I heard started when someone would get a scratch in the metal flake paint. Would be easier to add a stripe or a graphic. The trend became what it is now. JY says I love the original Gone in 60 Seconds. That's a flashback on cool old cars. Best car chase ever. Mark says to Patrick, right? Mm, Mark says I love hearses. Mark loves hearses. Tavo says, I wouldn't be seen dead in a hearse.
We don't know about that yet, Tavo.
Tavo says, 160J is named Stanza in Oz. Ah, my leg. My leg. Ah, my leg. And Mark says, I want to find a hearse and turn it into a drag car, but my budget never let me.
Yeah, they're really expensive now. Even the '80s crap ones, the front wheel drive models. Geez.
JY says, Dumb and Dumber 2. They drive a black funeral home car too.
Yep. Wasn't it a limousine?
I don't know, darling. I didn't saw it. Steven says you could at one time probably steal somewhere, get custom hoods, FOF Beetles
For Beatles.
for Beetles that had Rolls Royce and 40 Ford grills. See any down there?
Not here, but I know what you're talking about. I've seen them before. But why add weight to that vehicle? You don't want to add weight to that vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
The engine that's in it.
Dean says, or the Violet, also a Foo Fighters child. I know Foo Fighters is a band. Are you talking about movies? JY says Ford Ranger truck is super popular there. My cousin told me. Ah, my leg fell asleep. Ah. And then Dean says, I thought it was a wise thing to do, Jay. Barracuda says, good to see everyone is spelling hers properly.
Yeah, me too, Barry. Over the past 40 years, I'm so tired of correcting people. It's such an easy word to spell, and they just can't get it right.
Dean says, Mexican Spectre, massage time, stat!
That doesn't help. She's been sitting on her foot.
No, it hurts. I'm gonna stand for a minute. Hold on. Buffalo Campos says to Barracuda, a hearse with a hearse shifter.
Hurst shifter. Got to
Mm.
put the accent on the T.
Stray Bullet says J.C. Whitney used to sell those hoods and fenders for Beatles. Steven.
I miss J.C. Whitney catalogs.
Dean Stevenson says Mrs. Hurst. Tabo says to J-Ways, Ford Ranger down here is a completely different truck from the US version of the same name. Only thing they have in common is the name.
Hmm.
JY says in the second movie, 20 years later, Dumb and Dumber guy drive a funeral car. In the first movie, it was a limousine.
Oh, okay.
I don't like the first movie. I didn't saw the second. Barracuda says that's it, Buff. Dean says massage makes inspector stat.
Gravity's doing the work for me.
Stray Bullet says how about Baja Bugs Mexican? Are there any of those?
Well, not the official Baja bugs, but you'll see people cut the fenders on the Beetles and cut the rear fenders too, and put some generic tail lights on it and call it a Baja bug. That's about all they do. They don't put the engine, engine protection on it or the stinger or any of that stuff or raise it. So it's basically they're just cutting the fenders.
Steven Andrews says they were fiberglass hoods. I'm sure the girls were plenty thin metal or plastic. Dean says love Hearst. Fitzknife Husker says Tavo. So are your Rangers a full size? Are your Rangers a full size truck like they started out here?
Tavo, isn't your Ranger close to what they're selling in the U.S. as the Ranger now? Because the truck that they sell here is pretty close to what they sell in the U.S. It's just that the Mexican version doesn't have many options. You get your 4-cylinder, you get your strip model, and that's it. They don't sell luxury anything with options here.
JY says the drug culture is huge in Australia now. They love Ford trucks and even Ram.
Hmm.
Lester the Saber says JC Whitney catalog was the best bathroom reading.
Yep. I'm really sorry that I never ordered a Winky.
What's a Winky?
He was a cat that you put on the rear package shelf, and for cars that didn't have third brake lights, and his eyes would be brake lights and turn signals. Red. His red eyes would be turn signals and brake lights.
Steven Andrews says Jesse Whitney. Yes, you get anything there.
Yeah. You
That
could
was
rebuild your whole car.
That was a stupid snipe. Ranger here is a Hilux, Colorado, etc. size. Pitsnipe says, so what's the difference, Tavo? JY says, I love the 55 Chevy or AMC truck. Why not make that style again like they did for Mustang, Camaro, or Dodge? Make it look like old 60s and 70s model.
Isn't that what the 94 Dodge Rams were? To make it look like the old style that had the fender separate from the higher hood. That's the way it always looked to me. And the Durangos too. My Durango looks like that, has the lower fenders and the higher hood, like the old style vehicles.
Patrick says, I just wish they'd make small bare bone trucks again.
Yeah, I think one of there's going to be some of that coming out, but they still have to comply with all the safety and all the equipment regulations that the U.S. has. People just need to exercise their neck and get rid of the reverse cameras.
Steven Andrews says, I still have a 1962 JC Witness catalog. Dabo says, our Ranger is an Australian design, made in Thailand. V6 gasoline or 5-cylinder diesel.
Wait a minute. This car that's on the screen right now, this blue Sierra, it looks like they molded the front plastic bumpers to the body. There's no seams there. They just molded the bumpers into the body. It looks good. I would go with thinner wheels on it though. I don't. It looks like rear wheel drive wheels on this front wheel drive car. but this car looks good.
I forgot to take my pills.
Pill time.
Triple D says European Rangers look the same as US. Sometimes they put the steering wheel on the wrong side for some odd reason. Lester says, how about the Jester hood ornament from JC uh, Whitney?
JC Whitney.
Whitney. I don't know. Pesnar says, interesting towel. Josh Homan says, interesting Chevy celebrity.
Josh, that wasn't a celebrity. It was an Oldsmobile Sierra. That was sold as with the Eurosport package here, and it didn't show it, but that was a 5-speed manual in that car.
¿Y vas a Manuel?
Yep. You got to admit the Beetle, the newer Beetle wheels, the front engine Beetle wheels look good on these vans.
Triple says, what kind is that?
If you're talking about the blue car, that was a Sierra Eurosport. 3.1 liter V6 under the hood, 5-speed manual. Nice little car. The way they did the bumpers and the wheels have to go, but other than that, I think you're going to see the engine here, Stray Bullet. It has an access at the top, so you could do whatever you do there. I didn't even know they put the spare tire there.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's how the engine looks from the back, the access that you have. That should have a timing belt cover on it, which it doesn't have.
Triple says Oldsmobile with the quad 4 engine?
No, not quad 4, a 3.1 liter V6. They never put the quad 4s in vehicles here. I think they did in the later Cavaliers or the Sunfires.
Dean says, we got the Oldsmobile Sierra taillights on the Holden Statesman's VQ.
Oh, that's interesting. Parts bin.
Jay Weiss says, that's the bus I was talking about. That's a car they should make now.
There's no way this could pass a crash test. No way. It's just not possible.
That was his Volkswagen Slant 4.
This one, they want a lot of money for it, which I don't think anybody's going to pay.
Trey says, it looks a little bit taller than the air-cooled version.
This one here has a raised roof on it. They put the raised roof on the later ones, the 95, 94, 93 maybe, on up to the 2001. It has a raised, so you could almost stand up in this van.
Does it mean the van looks taller or the engine looks taller?
Are you talking about the roof, or are you talking about the space between the tire and the fender in the front?
I was talking about the engine, because he was talking about the engine before, to see if it fits.
Well, yeah, it's taller because it's an inline 4. Pistons have to go up and down and up and down. The engine, of course, would be taller, but the whole van is taller.
He says, no, the engine compartment.
No, the engine compartment is exactly the same.
See, that's what he was talking about.
Yeah.
But someone says it has no front end. It will fail for that reason alone.
Yeah, you would be right there. There would be no, in a front end crash test, the dummies would be done for. So no, it wouldn't work. But I can still sell you one if you want to. If you want to be the crash dummy. This is a very nice van, but they want a lot of money. Although that's something I've never seen in other ones that have the thing on the roof for the hinges for the rear door. I've never seen that on another one, unless they were the same color. They've never stood out before.
Dean says, "Yep, same parts bin that gave us the 1979 to 1982 Fairlane taillights. They used 79 to 82 Mustang taillights with 2 extra lamps added to each side."
Really? That's interesting.
¿Sabes qué se me antojó?
So the light was already in production. What?
Se me antojó un sushi. Pero no mexicano. Un fried sushi.
Here's another dark green Ram Charger, which isn't bad. Just I don't like the blacked out wheels.
He says no thanks. Joshua says no thanks. He doesn't want to be a dummy.
Yeah.
Chris says Volkswagen did redesign these transporters in 1973 to improve front crashworthiness, but double zero is still zero.
Mm-hmm. No,
Treble
you're right there at the accident scene.
mm-hmm. Treble says, are the air intake vents fake like on my Mustang?
No, the engine's in the rear, so it still brings in air. Like they didn't change anything on the van other than the engine. It still has the vents to bring air in, and it doesn't hurt to have air blowing on the engine to keep it cool back there when it's in its own little cubby. So, Chris, I'm assuming they have two pipes, one going to the engine, one coming back to the radiator. And one thing that they did not sell in Mexico that you guys got over there in the US were automatic transmissions in these. I can't for the life of me figure out who would buy an automatic in one of the slowest vehicles ever made. But I've seen them. The gear shift lever on the floor, gear shift lever is probably that tall. Like that.
No te caigas. No.
And definitely not something you want. An automatic in a Volkswagen van.
Dean says, yep, just like my 79, just like the 79 to 87 Falcon station wagon tailgate, taken off the Fox Fairmont, Ford Granada, and 83, 84 Ford LTD compact.
Mm-hmm.
Uno's here.
Hey, Uno. Thanks for joining us.
Were you lurking, Uno?
This van here that is on the screen, that's the second one I found for my client that has you'll see the burner and the sink and the refrigerator in, and everything works in it. Everything worked in it. It has the higher roof. The van was ready to go. The timing belt had been changed and everything, but it's sold. It is sold.
He says, 2 pipes, no smoking in the chat.
See, there's the burner and the stove and cabinetry. And then the refrigerator is over there on the other side of the van. And then it has a sofa bed in the back, so you could fold it back into the sofa, and people can ride back there. You got your refrigerator right there, and it's got electric plug in, and it's got electric plug on the outside, so you could plug it in at a campground.
Chris says, I've never seen the auto stick transmission used in an old air-cooled transporters, only in the middle.
No, not an auto stick, just an automatic. A real automatic transmission. Park, reverse, neutral, drive, low. In a Volkswagen van. Look it up if you haven't seen one. They are even slower than the manuals.
Uno says hockey game. Oh, he was watching a hockey game.
That's a very Canadian thing to say.
Are you gonna watch Heated Rivalry, Uno? I'm trying to convince Mr. Spec to watch it with me, but he doesn't want to. What is it? Heated Rivalry?
Yeah.
It's a hockey based show with 2 guys that are on opposing teams, but they really like each other.
No thanks.
Come on, watch it with me. Double says lots of automatic air-cooled vans down under.
Mm-hmm.
Stray Bullet says that's pretty nice.
Yes, and this one was 20,000 pesos less than the white one. So it was a really, really, really good price. Delivered to the border, it was going to be between $8,000 and $9,000, with including tariff and everything on the other side of the border. So you're not going to find a Volkswagen van like this with all that inside it for that kind of price, but it's already been sold. So no going back on that one.
JY says, when are you guesting on tonight's show? I remember you came on once a year ago, I think.
Who said?
JY's.
Yeah, well, he hasn't invited us back on, Jay. So it was, what holiday was it? It was Thanksgiving? No. Yes. It was one of the holidays that he invited the mods on. But maybe because I don't show my face, he doesn't want to do it. Because only at Zero was on there, and Fubar didn't even answer Kathy's messages.
Several says probably more bands than Beatles, in fact.
Well, who? I don't understand a
What?
automatic in an air cooled vehicle.
Hmm? Stray says that's interesting, that one. And Chris says, okay, the 3-speed Volkswagen automatic. I know it was used in the Type 3s, but if TT was used in the transporters, it's news to me.
Yeah, I've seen them in the
But
bay
if it
windows.
was used in transporters,
In the bay windows, yeah.
Uno says, fuck no, nobody's watching that bullshit film. Don't be rude, I'm watching it. It's so rude. JY says, Tabo, very hot in Sydney yesterday. My cousin said, too hot. Where are you in Australia?
I think Tao's got his own zip code.
Johnny C says, the lurking life, he lurked more than he lived. Sounds funny. Glenn says, I bought a pair of fussy dice from JC Whitney and didn't have a car. Was 16. Good time spending hours in the catalog and dreaming of what I could build.
Yeah, it was amazing everything that was available there. So hey, I can because I had multiple cars that hey I can do this for this car and this one to work on this car and this car and that car, but can't. Well, now we just order it online. So
Stray Bullet says, I just can't get past the radiator in the front.
if you painted the color of the van, you don't really notice it, which some people have done. I don't agree with it, but oh, it's back to the first van now.
Did it restart it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it started again.
Dean says, it needs a nice Rolls Royce silver shadow grill. Uno says, do we have churros, potatoes, agua fresca, or just plain Coke? I had carrot bread and golden milk for breakfast. And I think I'm gonna have some fried eggs and salsa. That sounds good.
Salsa.
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 Stop it.
People like saying salsa.
Stop it. Dean says missing inspector looks like this. Green square.
Yep, that's me. You can't mistake me for anybody else.
JY says, question. I like the DB copper mystery. Could he have taken US money to Mexico and spent there without tracing it? Some say he spent the money in Mexico. Can you use US money in Mexico?
At that time, yes, you could. It was very easy, but his face was so famous he would have been caught. So who knows what happened to him if he even survived.
It says people put small block Chevy engines in Porsche 914s without that radiator mess.
I've seen him. I've seen LSs and 911s, but I don't know about 914s.
Uno says Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola. And they also say, sorry, no Canadian hockey fan is watching that film. I don't know if I forgive you. So what it says, that will probably actually help him. Sabo says, I think the automatics became popular here because the stick shifter felt like it was mounted on a broken tennis ball. Feel around and guess what gear you're in.
Even from new.
JY says, all new cars are automatic now. That means new drivers will never drive stick.
In the US, yes, but here in Mexico, every company offers a small car with a manual transmission in it.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of them.
We do like our manuals here.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, Mrs. Spec and I last year went to the Ram dealer and we looked at a Ram 700, which is a little Fiat pickup truck. And the guy told us that there's going to be no manuals for 2025. And what do you know? It's back for 2026. People want the manual transmission in those little vehicles.
Mm-hmm. Mark says, like in Seinfeld, salsa.
Salsa.
Stop it! Uno says, salsa, no guacamole or pico de gallo. No, it's what I have. It's easier.
You guys are getting me hungry with this food talk.
Chris says, I just bought a car from a dealer with a manual transmission. Only one person working there knows how to drive stick.
How stupid. So easy.
Stray Bullet says Mexican Spec is DB Cooper.
I'm not that old, Stray Bullet.
Who's DB Cooper? And JY says,
I'll let you look it up on the internet.
Okay. I'll let you guys know if it's DB Cooper. JY says, I like the grill. Maybe a Rolls Royce one would look better. Maybe a Rolls Royce one would look better. Stray Bullet says, the bus stick shift is terrible, Tabo.
That would have been the worst part of driving one of these combis back, is the gear shift lever. It's so long, it's not very accurate.
Mm-hmm.
But I bet it gets up hills on the highway with the engine. This one here, I know we're starting over, but this one here has upholstery from a casino carpet. It's casino carpet they used to put the upholstery in here. Purple in the front, blue in the back. How can you go wrong?
Rebel says the bus. Oh no, wait. Mark says I heard it was popular. It was a popular thing to put a small block Chevy on the 350 Trans in Jag XJs.
XJSs.
XJSs in the 70s or 80s.
Yes, those are the only Jaguars that are still running these days.
Glenn Nicholson says have at least the owner had good taste in beverages. And JY says Tabo wasn't the utility car invented in Australia. Tabo answers to Mark. Down under, Chevy SV converted Jag XJSs would outnumber Jag engines once 3-1.
Got to keep them running if it's your car.
Tabo says to JY's yes, 1934 Ford. Rebel says it was Mark. The Jaguar engines needed replacement abnormally early. The car itself was still nice. Mark says driving stick is easy. It gets a little complicated when you have to drive a heavy truck with a 13, 15, or 18 speed transmission.
Yeah, plus how many speeds does a differential have on top of that? Anyway, guys, we've been here for 4 hours, 22 minutes, and I don't know how many seconds. So I think we're going to get out of here since you guys keep talking about food. I'm hungry now. So the Pitts Knife says, alrighty then. Clean laundry, folded and put away. Place is smelling good. Now I got forever plastic containers to wash from Christmas leftovers, but I'm going to sit down and let them soak. Yeah, soaking is always good. Soaking is always good.
Yep.
Maybe somebody will come around and wash them for you. This would be a nice one with all this wood inside.
Mm-hmm.
Wood. Okay, so we're going to get out of here. And thank you all for being here. And we might see you tomorrow night. We don't know yet.
Thank you for joining us, guys.
We might have a surprise live tomorrow night, but then it wouldn't be a surprise now, would it? Since I just said something, so be quiet.
Thank you for joining us, guys. Bye-bye.
Adios.